Hello. Beautiful. Hello and welcome to my live. I trust you are well. I am well. Thank you very much for asking. I have a story for you today. I have a lineup. Indeed. I do. I trust you are well. I am well. Thank you very much for asking. This is an adult entertainment show, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you do. I wrote a list. How you doing, Christian Carpenter? The first question is, no, not yet. Not yet. I don't know if you've ever seen a female deer or a giraffe give birth to their young. And generally, in the wild cats and the wild dogs, they give birth at night. Excellent today. How about yourself? I'm fine. I'm very good. Thank you very much for asking. Thank you. So this is going to go along the lines of that, and you should know, as being a Christian and a good Sir Carpenter, to welcome Tennessee to you. You know, the original sin, the pain that God said to Eve, this is why you will have pain when you give birth, because of the original sin. And you know, throughout the eons, religion and, well, mainly our modern religion like Islam and Judaism and Christianity, and even the Chinese, look, the Chinese women are a lot stronger. How you doing, Mel? Hearts to you. Chinese women are really serious women. Back in the day, if the farmers, they would have to, because if their firstborn was a female, they knew how to go into the fields and destroy their daughter, delete their daughters. So that takes a lot of courage for a mother or woman. But that also is emblematic and symbolic too of how dangerous women and the females are. You know, I don't know if you know that I have woman issues, and I carry the pink card, LGBTQIA plus XYZ too. So I do definitely have women issues. But so have men for hundreds of years. The women are kept separate. In Islam, in Judaism, in Catholicism, they're told to keep quiet. And now I've come to realize, yes, because I disagreed for a while there, I defended the female side of people. I did. But now I understand why. Because it's for their own protection. Simple as. Is to defend the female, you got to shut her up. And in religion, they've been shutting women up for heavens knows how long. I think it's in Colossians or cathedrals. Because women have this thing called histrionics. It's a mental problem. Listen, guys, please double tap on the screen for a like. Thank you. It's not a mental problem. It's actually a health issue. They actually need to physically satisfy their body, and they refuse to do it. They rather satisfy their minds with a lot of evil. You know, look, there were pharaohs in Egypt and gods too, but they're also dead now, and they had equal rights to men. You know, women suffer monthly. And the religion said, yes, because God made you do that. God said, yes, because you wanted to. If that's true, I don't know. No, I believe because it's of histrionics. Stereonics is something that comes back in the day, back in the good old days of the Western movies. Then the women would go mad in the street and no one would know what to do, and they would take it to the doctor's room, and the doctor would glove up and they would tie down the ravid female and really sort that business out down there. When do we suffer about, again, double as bad with menopause? Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And then you wonder why you get hot flushes, and be called ugly and wrinkled and old. Rotten rat. Anyway, I have to tell you, because I'm leading up to something here, darlings. It's about the cult of, what's his name? Dionysus. But before we get there, I first have, because I didn't know about this until this morning when I watched it, and then I'll show you the video so you can take a look. My dream, I had a nightmare. And my nightmares are always very dark in the darkness. I was in this dark place. I always jumped into this dark place with these lots of people. And the first thing they wanted to do was castrate me, cut my balls off. I said, no, get away from me, jump. And I was forever like jumping, flying, trying to fly away to the next level or whatever. I don't know. Then they were doing digging. They were trying to, I don't know, have you seen that cult that's down in South America where that's that healer, that leader, and he would scrape the people's eyes with to get rid of their cataracts, and then he would do surgery and go through the belly button in their stomach and go into the body with his hand and pull out the kidney or whatever. I don't know. It's quite weird, and he's got millions of followers, millions. And digging out from the back. Now that's also very much Reiki healing. That's why I've never been Reiki healed. I don't believe in Reiki healing. They think it's evil. But then people call massage therapists evil too. Now, these people in the dream, which are always just fucking demons to me, but they're looking like people, dark, very dark people. Then what happens is they try and pull back something out of your body. They're wanting to take something out of me. And then I saw somebody else having something taken out of the side of the butt cheek, and everything was, you could see the flesh open, and they just wanted to cut my balls off. Everybody comes to me, cut my balls off. And until I find a stranger looking being with more hands and more fingers and nails, but golden. And I pushed him, and he fell off the wall, and he shattered into, as if it was, one of these huge, big wine glasses. You've seen those memes with the woman and that hole, the wine glass is as big as a chair, and she's taking a sip of the wine. It became this shattered glass of wine on the floor, this golden being. And then my dog came to me. I don't know if your dog has ever been in your dream, but my poor dog, he saved me. He saved me out of this dream. I picked him up. I said, Spark, what are you doing here? And then I picked him up, and he was full of this, like he had bites all over him. And then I couldn't get out, but then all of a sudden the dogs bark, wah! Because they both sleep on the bed with me. And so they wanted to get out, and I let them out. And then we climb back to bed. I get back into the room, I climb back into bed, and my phone rings, and it's Sierra. I thought, fuck that. What witchery is going on now? What black magic has been done to me now by the Sierra, Black Queen of the Darkness? The fly that needs to be swatted. Yes, swatted. the Bureau of Drugs. Let me get this video for you to watch now. When have I said cross-straight it enough times for you to understand what you're going to see now? And that's what it makes so sense. Because the cult of Lionense comes down to Baphomet. Baphomet was drawn by Sabbatai Levi. Sabbatai Levi was this fake Jew, this Ashkenazi Jew that went under Islam and Muslim, whatever rule the king would have, but he had a bigger following in 1666. He had up to 7 million people following him. And he's the one that drew the Baphomet, and that, what you're about to see now is what I wanted to show you. It's very interesting.
At least when we first met, I asked him, why did you decide to study theology at Oxford? I remember thinking back then, like 2018, 2019, of all the subjects available for students to take on at university, why would somebody want to pick religion? Especially a religion that you don't necessarily follow. Why do you want to learn about all of this? How silly I was, how wrong I was. Actually, I think now one of my biggest academic regrets is that I went to college, wasted my time, when I should have just been studying religion and theology. Because in my political life, I suddenly realized nothing else actually matters, really. Everything else is theater. If you don't know what is guiding someone, spiritually speaking, then you can't comprehend what is happening. It was at university that my husband made a decision to convert to Catholicism, and an even stranger decision in my mind, in my 2018 American mind, because it's almost a marker of a public education in America to be anti-Catholic. It's like Catholicism is a no-no. Everything you learn in history, the Catholics were just going wild, doing everything wrong in Europe, and gratefully, America, you're a young country, but you're getting it right. I now have a better understanding today of why that is. And I should say now, isn't it kind of curious that Brigitte is allegedly a devout Catholic? Anybody following the story believing that? As a quote-unquote Catholic, you'll recall that she first got into office, Brigitte Macron wanted to transform the dome of Notre Dame into a penis. I'm not kidding. You guys remember this. Look, here's the headline. Just to quickly recap here. French president's wife proposed phallus and golden balls for Notre Dame rebuild. And here is a quote from that article, because when Brigitte first entered into office, saying she's supposed to be the wife of, but I guess when Macron first entered into office, the minister of French culture was a woman named Rosalind Bachelot. And Rosalind Bachelot was the one that received the proposal from Brigitte. And here in that article is what Rosalind Bachelot recapped in her book. She wrote, quote, "I do not regret this insubordination when at lunch with Brigitte Macron a few days later, she shows me a project topped with a sort of erect phallus with its base surrounded with golden balls." I'm sorry, what? To be clear, they just got rid of that woman. They replaced her because they were like, okay, you don't want to put the golden balls in the dome? You don't want to do that? You gotta go. You gotta go bye-bye, Rosalind. And Rosalind does not regret, as she should not, her insubordination, because what on earth? I get it. I know what's happening. Because what better way to destroy your true enemies than from within? To say, I'm Catholic, and yeah, Macron and me fell in love. He was 14. I get it. I gotta tell you guys something else about myself, a little fact. The first thing that I ever wanted to be in life, I remember this vividly, was an archaeologist. In third grade, I got kind of obsessed. We learned about archaeology. I don't know really what was motivating it beyond learning about Egypt. Needless to say, it didn't work out for me in life, but my interest in artifacts being dug up that reveal secrets from the past, well, that never went away. Which is why this artifact, if there is an artifact, rather, in this Brigitte Macron saga, and it completely piqued my attention. I was like, I feel like I should be paying attention to this for some reason. So here is the true story. It's just a fact. In Amiens, remember that is the town where both Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron were born. There is an artifact that got discovered in 1845. It is a bronze statuette, and it was located on the property of this military man named Captain Bournel. Now, I'm unsure if it's because of a language barrier that exists, but I'm currently unable to learn anything more about this Captain Bournel other than the fact that this statue was specifically found in the neighborhood of Henryville in Amiens. Now, if Henryville is ringing a bell to you, that's because you will recall that is the specific neighborhood that Emmanuel Macron grew up with Manette, yeah? So I was interested, and I'm sorry, I'm interested because they decided to name this statue, it's still in Amiens, it's featured in the museum, the god of Amiens. Like, I'm sorry, but if I was just going in my backyard and I dug up something that looked like a pagan figurine, I wouldn't name it the god of anything. I would be like, oh, we found this is interesting, but somebody made the decision to name that the god of Amiens. I needed to know more because you can always count on me to not mind my own business. Okay. And like I said, what was compelling me was the name of it, right? None of us would do that. Think about it right now. No matter what you dig up in your backyard, you're not going to place it in your house and call it a god, unless you're maybe pagan yourself. So let's take a look at the statue, right? The statue itself is missing something in its hand, in both sides, actually. You will also note that the statue itself kind of looks like it's a young boy. It has an animal ear. I can tell you now that what is supposed to be in its left hand, you can see something's missing from that left hand, is a snake, okay? And what's supposed to be in that broken arm is he's supposed to be holding grapes. Here is what that statue should look like, okay? On the right-hand side, we know that because that statue is called the god of Besançon, which is south of Paris in France. So that on the left is what is the god of Amiens. On the right, that is the god of Besançon. Again, who's giving these statues this name? I don't know. Now I'm going to explain to you, and I want you to listen very carefully to everything that is represented in this unique statue, god, quote-unquote, god of Amiens, okay? King Midas is represented by the animal ear. Cybele, who was a demon and also the ancient mother goddess of Anatolia, who castrates herself, is castrated, is represented by the snake. And then Dionysus, also goes by the name Attis, is represented by the grapes. Okay, that's the effeminate-looking male. And lastly, the goat ear is Pan. I'm going to tell you the story of how these all come together, how these mythological figures are all related to the same story. As it turns out, the statue relates to the pagan belief in how Phrygia, which is a region in modern-day Turkey, in Anatolia, came to be. I'm showing you that on the map. It is relevant. Turkey is always very relevant. The story goes that there was an oracle that was consulted to determine who would become the next king of Phrygia. Now, consulting an oracle, generally speaking, typically involves some high priestess who becomes possessed spiritually by the deities and is able to communicate messages. This particular oracle declared that it was going to be Gordius who would become the king of Phrygia, and he would do this once he rode his cart into Phrygia alongside the high priestess Agdistis, okay? Agdistis was a hermaphrodite. The gods feared this monstrosity, saw it as a demon, and so they castrated Agdistis, and then what was left was a woman, I suppose, and she becomes Cybele. Some of this is starting to sound familiar to you. You're like, it kind of the stories mix. You get the Greek, the Roman, the Turkish version, but follow me with this. I want to be clear here. To the ancient Turks, there is no higher goddess that is worshipped than this priestess Cybele. She is their magna mater, the great mother of Anatolia. So Cybele goes on and she mothers 2 children. Don't worry, I'm going to actually show you a mythological family chart. Cybele goes on and she mothers 2 children. The first one she mothers with King Gordius, right? They rode into town together. That child is Midas. Everybody knows King Midas, right? Midas, the golden touch. And her other child, who she mothers, is with someone else. And it was a bit of a scandal of how this child came about. That child is Dionysus. Now, you'll recall that Brigitte Macron from Amiens handpicked Thomas Jolly to put on that now notorious Olympic show that outraged the world. Brigitte was intimately involved in the planning of that performance for some reason. When the world objected to what looked like a promotion of trans ideology and a mockery of the Last Supper, curiously, the Élysée Palace rebutted, quote-unquote, clarified to the public that it was actually supposed to be a tribute to Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and revelry that is represented in this god of Amiens figurine, okay? Brigitte actually went so far, this meant so much to her to clarify this point that she stipulated in her lawsuit against me. That performance was actually about a Greek god. It says, Owens went so far as to claim that the 2024 Olympic opening ceremony, which was a tribute to Greek mythology, was designed to honor Brigitte Macron because she is transgender. Oh, so you're doubling down that this is actually supposed to be something related to Greece. Again, I should have noticed it then, but that's another clue. They say way too much, the Élysée Palace, way too much when they pretend to be outraged about something. Back to Dionysus, right, the second child of Cybele. In Greek mythology, the story goes that Zeus became quite enchanted with this priestess Cybele. Zeus, if you know, he was cheating all the time on Hera, his wife. And one of these individuals, it's Cybele, he gets enchanted by this priestess, and he begins to see her on the side, and the end result is that Cybele becomes pregnant with his child. Hera, Zeus's wife, decides, like, oh, this is crazy, and she's in a fit of rage, and she decides that she's going to disguise herself as a nurse, and she's going to ingratiate herself with a pregnant Cybele and manipulate Cybele by sowing seeds of doubt in her mind. Like, oh, are you sure that your paramour is Zeus, like the god Zeus? And Cybele's like, yeah, I'm sure. She's like, how are you sure? Have you ever seen him? Has he ever presented himself in his full godly divine form? Like, I feel like you should find out whether or not that's actually Zeus. And it works. The reason Hera wants Cybele to ask Zeus to appear before her in his divine glory is because, mythologically speaking, if a god appeared in his full divinity before a human or a priestess, it would automatically kill that person. The sight is just too divine. And like I said, Hera's trick works. Cybele then says, Zeus, if you're actually Zeus, appear before me. And instantly, Zeus is like, no, don't make me do this, don't make me do this. He does it. Cybele is then struck by a thunderbolt of lightning, and Cybele dies and goes into the underworld. The impact of this lightning strike forces her son, Dionysus, to be born prematurely. Zeus then rescues this premature Dionysus by sewing him into his thigh. When it comes time for Dionysus to be born again, like twice born, Zeus knows that he has to hide this child because Hera's going to freak out. Like, what? You're keeping the child? This is not happening. So he asks the messenger god Hermes to take Dionysus into the forest, where he is instead going to be raised by a half goat, known as Pan. Here we are, Pan in the forest. So to be clear, Pan, this half goat, becomes the foster parent to Dionysus. I'm going to show you the family chart because this is very relevant, okay? So you've got Cybele up there, right? The demon of Anatolia. She mothers the child with Zeus. She's now in the underworld, right? That Dionysus. On the other side, Cybele and King Gordius are going to have Midas, okay? The interesting thing about Pan, this half goat, as some people interpret him as Satan, is he's a bit of a lush. He's always drunk in the forest because when he is in a drunken stupor, he's able to tell prophecies. So Pan is the god of shepherds, flock, and drunken revelry. Pan does, as he is asked, he fosters Dionysus, and Dionysus then grows to be this very beautiful, as they describe it, effeminate-looking young boy who clearly adores Pan. Pan with the horns. One night, Pan is hitting the bottle a little too hard, right? And he is found in a drunken stupor by the now King Midas's men. They find this like half goat. They bring him back to Midas's palace. And of course, King Midas recognizes Pan because of his dad being a Gordius. And he resolves that he's going to keep Pan safe and comfortable in his palace. Now, Dionysus is panicked because she can't find her foster father. Is panicked because he can't find his foster father. And then he's completely relieved when he discovers that he's with King Midas, which that's actually his half brother, right? Cybele is both the mother of King Midas and also the mother of Dionysus, this pretty boy. So happy is Dionysus, who is half god because Zeus is a real father, that he says, I'll do anything you want, Midas. I'll give you anything you want as a reward, a gift for taking care of my foster father, Pan. Your wish is my command, and King Midas is greedy. He's very greedy. He says, I would like the Midas touch. Everything I touch, I would like to turn to gold. And the Midas touch is granted. Now, of course, that touch turned out to be a bit of a curse. King Midas goes on to accidentally turn his daughter into gold when he tries to console her. And then he realizes, okay, maybe I shouldn't have asked for this. So he goes back and he starts pleading with his half sibling. And he's like, look, bro, I really need you to kind of get rid of this thing. I know I loved gold so much, but I didn't really think through my request. Please, just let me get rid of this. Dionysus eventually obliges and he tells Midas to go wash his hands in the river Pactolus. And the gold will instead be transferred there. Now, just popping into ancient life, in case you didn't know this, Pactolus, that river, ironically, that is where an absurd amount of gold and silver was found beneath that river. In fact, that river became the source, and this is important, of the very first gold coins that were used in the ancient world. Banking begins right here, guys. I can't make it up. I promise. Look it up. Begins right here in Turkey. Now, back to our family. Dionysus, like I said, he's now a young adult, half god. He wants his mom back. He just really wants Cybele back. Cybele's in the underworld, so he resolves, I'm going to journey, do what I have to take, go into the underworld, I'm going to retrieve her. And that journey is not without its obstacles, obviously. He has to enter into the realm of the dead, sacrifice a lot to bring his mom back. This is, again, why Dionysus and Cybele are associated with this idea of a rebirth. Now back from the underworld, Dionysus becomes the consort to Mommy Sibylle. And it gets a little complicated. The story goes that his mom, Sibylle, falls in love with him. And his foster parents, people, the nymphs in the forest, they didn't really like that. It's like, whoa, Mom, he's like a young boy, adult, young. What are we doing here? Falling in love? This is weird. So they think it's weird. This creepy old castrated mommy macking on her beautiful son. And they had other plans for him. They take him away. They want him to marry someone else. But the love that this high priestess Sibylle felt for that boy, her son, it was too strong. Man, this is really starting to sound a bit familiar. This is the most Amiens story ever. Long story short, Dionysus and Attis live happily ever after. Dionysus and Sibylle live happily ever after. After she drives him mad and he castrates himself as well. It's a lot of castration happening in the story. You should know that out of this should not shock you at all, cults were formed. Cults were formed. These cults are known as the cult of Sibylle or the cult of Dionysus. And Attis, you need to look this up. The people that follow this cult are known as the Galli. And to become a high priestess in the cult of Dionysus, you have to castrate yourself. That's not me saying this. I'm not making this up. I just looked into this statue. Here it is. You can read it on the English Heritage site. It tells you about the Galli breaking Roman gender norms, a little piece of LGBTQ plus history, I bet. The Galli were priests in the cult of the goddess Sibylle. They may have been devoted specifically to her consort, Attis, that's Dionysus, who had castrated himself in a fit of divine frenzy. On initiation to the cult, Galli also castrated themselves, and afterwards they dress exclusively in women's clothing. They therefore occupied an ambiguous space in Roman notions of gender that many modern transgendered and non-binary people have identified with. I bet. Castrating yourself and then only dressing in female clothes. I kid you not. This is apparently the god of Amiens. To initiate yourself into this cult, how it works is there has to be this night of revelry. This night, of course, where you're trying to summon Pan, a night where people wear horns, they make these tributes to Pan, and they practice what is known as like orgiastic rituals, basically sex magic. Lines are crossed. You can look this up. I have been tracing this through the centuries and realizing this cult never really went out of fashion. Lines are crossed. There's pedophilia. There's incest, all encouraged in these nights of revelry. And you should also know that theater is a component of this cult. Dionysus is the Greek god of theater. That is actually where Western theater stems from. So when we look across the world and we see all these people in positions of power, and we learn that Justin Trudeau was a drama instructor, Zelensky was an actor, Emmanuel Macron was an actor being instructed by Brigitte, it of course makes you ask yourself the reasonable question, did this cult really survive through the ages? And it did. I told you, I traced it. The cult has its features every time. There's Pan, there's a young boy, the goat worship. There's always a young boy that he is raising. And then there's always the Midas in every story. I was therefore not actually surprised to learn that a statue giving a tribute to Pan was also found in the Medici family villa. The Medicis would have been the Midases of their time in Florence in 1787. Look at this statue. So much of what we need to get into is the theology. That is obviously the half goat, and this statue meant a lot to the Medici family. They actually transferred it to their villa in Florence, and it is, Pan tutoring one of his many eromenos, which is just like young boys, essentially. I don't know, guys. All I'm saying is that it's interesting that we're discussing this whole Becoming Brigitte thing, and Brigitte decides to put on this Dionysian festival for the Olympics where people are cross-dressing, and then we just find out that this is the quote-unquote god of her and Emmanuel's hometown. It's just weird, okay? It was also weird that at Brigitte's wedding to Emmanuel, they chose this very strange cake topper with horns. From Xavier Poussard's book, Becoming Brigitte, he writes this, quote, regarding that strange wedding, and I think, do you have that up? Everything there is strange. From the sleeveless and particularly short dress that's worn by Brigitte to Emmanuel Macron's pink tie knot, not to mention the cake topper, possibly evoking the horns of Baphomet. Strangely, he continues, this wedding did not appear in the local weekly Les Echos du Touquet for October 20, 2007. The only event mentioned at the town hall is a christening, end quote. So yeah, it's a weird wedding, and they couldn't find that this wedding was reported on in the local press, and no explanation for that cake topper. On a further fashion note, back in 1972, the Rothschild family had this infamous party, a surrealist ball, where guests were required to wear costumes. It was hosted by Baroness Helene de Rothschild, and I have to say, I wouldn't wear this. Like, I wouldn't wear that. that she's wearing there. It really makes you wonder, but you're not allowed to wonder, by the way, people. Even if you ask AI, it says any questions about what she's wearing at night is deeply anti-Semitic. I mentioned all of this to you because as we're pulling together the pieces of the Epstein story and we're talking about Sigmund Freud and we're getting about Emmanuel Macron, you start to see these themes. Theology is very, very relevant. It might be time for all of us to pick up an old Bible, not a new one, changing things around already. It's pretty clear in the Bible that the Ashkenaz are the Turks, and they are not Semitic. They cannot be Semitic because they are of the lineage of Japheth and Gomer. You got to learn about Gog of Magog, the prophesied war against God's people, and to understand that to accomplish that, this element of theater that we are seeing, theater and infiltration, it is so important, or very important to the Dionysian cult. So learn more about Dionysus, and I think you will be provided a lot more clarity about what it is that we are facing. And no, you are not crazy, okay? In fact, I would argue that the people that are running the world are out of their minds, truly and utterly out of their minds. I'm going to show you more that we have discovered about Prisoner 2093, allow you to listen to some audio from that. First, I want to tell you guys about Riverbend Ranch because I've been talking a lot about Riverbend Ranch. I love their steaks, the Black Angus steaks.
So, let's give a synopsis of that. I don't know. I don't think everybody watched it, did they? No, they didn't. So, is that going to hold? I think so. There we go. The synopsis is that it's the cults that win in this world are the true satanic cults that have been going on since Zabbatai Levi, whose artwork was made famous by Aleister Crowley. Yes, the Beast 666. And then what was so strange for me, because it was only a couple of hours before, and I remembered the dream of them wanting to castrate me. So maybe I will be the king of everything, like Dionysus. But, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm the reincarnation, as some of these people talk all the time. You see what I just realized now, and I hope you got your pens and papers out, that the Candice, the rotten rat, who has a cotton field, and she's got a cotton picker on her side now, she always professed that her granddaddy went to Stanford University. And this is where it all started, because guess what? Stanford University was the very first university to offer soldiers and prisoners castrations and sex changes. They practiced on these people who wanted to have sex changes. That's where it all started, in Stanford University. And most of the 60s, 50s, and 40s, that's where all these spies and very powerful people went to university. And the Candice in Maine, his granddaddy went there. I wonder what happened there. I wonder if truly he could have been Hoover or something like that. You know that name? They built a wall, a damn wall for Edgar Hoover, yeah? Some famous spy. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a family of spies and full of lies. That's what they usually are. Her father was a boat builder. He sailed to Norway to learn how to build the boats and sailed back. He would row to work every single day. Most powerful. People don't row a boat to work. Imagine doing that. Who would do that? Very powerful, very strong. Indeed. And that's what spies are. They rule the world. We have the American embassy. The embassy is full of spies. That's what the ultimate point of having an embassy is. And South Africa has an embassy in more countries than any other country in the world. You know that? We have an embassy everywhere. Because the ANC, the rulers of our country, are ultimately communists they're the black communists of Russia. They speak Russian. Anyway, that's the lesson for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it enlightened you. It enlightened me. But my dream was the worst. It was a nightmare. And usually when I feel ill and sick, I have these dark, mysterious dreams. It's funny, the dog was castrated 10 days ago. Thor, he was castrated 10 days ago. Oh, yeah, anyway. That's the end of my story. Flate. The story is 8. I hope you enjoyed it. Please double tap on the screen. And if you're watching in the future, I thank you very much for your thumbs up. I thank you very much for your comments. I thank you for joining me. And for those who share these videos, these lives, then I know you really care. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Stay well, go well. Life does get tougher, but we get smarter. And if we try a little bit harder every day, it does get better. Jack, good to see you, old chap. How you doing? Hello, Weekend. Thanks for saying hi. It was very nice of you to come around to me. Haven't seen you in quite a while, you know. Did you? Can I play it now? Can I play it? Did you load it? See, this is what I'm sorry. It's women who love men that get places. They go places because they get protected. You can't be opposing men and thinking you're going to get away with it. No. Men are dangerous beasts. They're also very childish too. They say it's boy, man, boy as they grow through their life. I must find Wickham's channel. Everybody put where you are from in the comments. Your state of mind and the temperature and time, please. Before we leave, before we end this live with a lovely song to the rotten rat, plantation madam, and her cotton-picking slave. It's that one. Oh, there's me. Double tap. There, now I've got 7. Thank you very much. There's me. Well, here's one I haven't seen. Trust the process, baby. Hee hee. Trust the process indeed. Oh, no, wrong one. I'm not a member there. You'll tell me when it's up, hey, Wickham?
Drowning in time as the world turns, my world rearranges. Shadows fall and the light exchanges. Good or bad, I cannot say. Each dawn just steals another day. My melancholy grows so worn. Fragile threads where hope was torn. The clock keeps running, never still, carving years against my will. Days to weeks, weeks to years,
Okay.
drenched in
Thanks.
silence, soaked in fears. Every moment slips away, carried by the tide's decay. Time moves in waves that pull me under, crashing hearts and breaking thunder. No matter how strong I swim in vain, the shores are ghosts beyond the rain. No boats appear across the night. No hands reach out to pull
I
me
want you to finish the song first.
I wonder when the storm
Is it a
will
premiere?
cease.
You premiere? Is it a
When
premiere?
will the water grant me
Or is it not a premiere?
peace? Will I see
It
land
is.
beyond the gray, or drift until my soul
Devil in you.
sinks into your head?
Oh no, I can't comment on this one. Sorry. This is to the rotten rat, plantation madam, and her cotton picking slave.
Like fire, cackling tongue, born of the land. Spitting your poison, you think you reign, but I send it back, triple the pain. You drag our names into your hell. Your madness like a broken bow. I curse thee, woman, now I'm free. Every wound you cut comes back to thee. The devil in you, I see it well. You don't need a crown, you need a spell. Chains of deceit wrapped around your throat. Every false word
I love it. I'm dancing
another
actually.
stone you roll.
I'm tapping my feet.
Your fire burns, but I won't fall.
48, 48, baby. Wow.
I curse the woman that will flee. The shadows you birth will bury thee. The devil in you has broken the spell. Your throne is dark. Welcome to your
Enjoy your cell. Oh, is that what you were saying? Hectic, 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 darling. Hectic. Nice job. Good job. Just, well, how's that timing, darling? Good morning, America. Oh, my saviors. They are good people. They are good women out there. It's because those good women, they love their children, they love their husbands. Yes, I know, I don't blame you. It suits your name anyway. It's not, I love horror movies like that. They just don't make them like that anymore. You know what I mean? You know? But how was that so funny? Resto was in his barn, in her barn, and he was live at the same time. I thought that was so brilliant. That was so brilliant. And he was live on his own live. Well, that's how it works. It's crazy, this world. I want to thank you for joining me. It's crazy, you see, but when women love women and forgive them, and then we can go on again. That's why we have a Mother's Day. You can't rule the woman, you can't rule the world with just one sex. But the truth of the matter is, the gods, the crazy gods that were part of the creation were hermaphrodites and castrated men who, yes, pleasured themselves up their anuses too, you see. Women need to find their G-spots and sort themselves out. It's when you're always shitty, you become ugly. Did you know that? When you're always shitty, you become ugly. Did you know that? Jealousy makes you nasty, and nasty makes you fat. Remember that. Jealous, it's called penis envy. That's what it's called, penis envy. And nobody's going to castrate me. Anyway, that's the end of my story. I thank you for joining me and hanging in there till the end. Wiccan, you're a glorious help to me. So you could help yourself, and you did indeed. Bye-bye. Love you. Life gets tougher, but we get smarter indeed. Mwah.